just picking up the thread from Ram, one thing important to point out here is that the model that we have adopted, Vision 8 Inc. in US, which is registered here in Lexington, Mass. The difference is that it is run like a foundation. We actually do not run the centers where the low vision people are treated. That's run by a different organization in India. And the way we set up is that we give a grant to them. And we don't give a complete grant. We do a matching grant. We encourage them to have their own resources and start the activities, and after that we give a matching grant. Sometimes we give even more than a matching grant, probably 60-70% of the money that's required. And on a case-by-case basis, like starting this computer center, that was set up as a project, and we did all the evaluation and the costing, and then we gave almost pretty high portion of that. And of course, subsequently, they used our reference, and the Vision 8 Center has got grants from other organizations as well. So what we operate is basically on a grant basis. This is a foundation. We actually do not get involved in the day-to-day operations.
Right.
Having said that, we wanted to replicate, because our first Vizag Center was a great success. So our vision of Vision 8, it is basically to replicate that success and start other centers like that. But the key challenge that we face there is finding a key person who will invest a lot of time and energy and some money into starting an organization.
Right.
For the first center, we are fortunate that Ram's father took that initiative and he started that, and it's doing very well. So our biggest challenge is finding a person in different areas of first India, and after that out of India into other countries as well. But we are also thinking of partnering maybe with other organizations who will wanted to champion the cause of low vision, because as Ram said, that it's totally not visible and there's no money in it, so people don't want to invest. But we wanted to do something in that area, so champion that cause and basically have certain other organizations who are willing to take up a center, then we will do the matching funding for them. So that's the way we'll grow. That's our strategy.
And that's how we plan to scale. Is you have a model, you have the money, now you just give it off to someone and make sure that they're using the money correctly and they're able to quickly set up a center. So that's why I said at some point we'll have the inflection point where, if we have the money, the plan is already there, just execute the plan.
Right. I would definitely not be wrong in saying that Vision 8 is an innovator of sorts, not only trying to serve an interesting, a very niche, underserved target audience, as well as having an innovative business model of matching the grant, which makes the organization work for themselves. Vision 8 has also contributed in other innovations. Ram, would you like to share some of those efforts within the company?
Sure. One of the things we were very pleased with is that today we have been able to in India manufacture an electronic device, a magnifying device. We call it the camera mouse because it looks like a mouse, a computer mouse, and it has a little camera. Using that, people can hook up to a common TV screen, which most people in India have, even if they are in the middle class or lower middle class. And you can magnify printed text up to 20 times the size. Now, this innovation in itself is not a new idea. Similar products exist in the West here. What's new is that we have been able to do it at about a tenth of the cost of what the corresponding products here in the US, for example, sell at. And we are distributing these in India today. It has been selected 2 years ago by the Government of India, Department of Science, as the top 60 innovations of India. So if you actually, and we were invited twice by the Indian Science Congress to come and display this. There has been tremendous feedback, a lot of interest. There's media coverage, the Times of India, Deccan Chronicle. Most of the papers picked up and reported it because, they considered that this was a very significant and beneficial contribution. So that's one of the innovations. I already alluded to the computer training program where, we're having a lot of success.
Right.
Just to add to what Ram said, this is basically kind of a small scanner. So you have a piece of paper and there's a camera with a it looks like a mouse. Actually, it's a misnomer. It's not a mouse. So you just slide it over the piece of paper, and that projects that, it magnifies and projects it onto the screen so that the person can read it pretty easily, though you cannot read a newspaper or a piece of paper.
Right. I'm sure that there are quite a few of us who've had those noble thoughts come at some point in time, trying to help the people, the less privileged people back home, and it's often left at that thought. What advice, if you had to give some of the people that like us who would want to contribute in some certain way, maybe small enough or maybe as big as taking an initiative to open up an organization, what are some of the learnings that you've had and that you would want to share with us?
Well, I could suggest two things. Depending on the time and energy you have to spend, if you don't have a lot of time and energy but still have the volition, there are a number of wonderful nonprofits. We are one. Even in the Boston area, you have dozens of people. Connect with one of those, get involved. They're always looking for volunteers. We are looking for volunteers as well. And if you have more time and energy, and if you have an idea which is already not out there, just go and do it. Because people will come, they will help you. That's what we found.
Right. Any important lessons or things that either while running the organization, while just growing up, that you would want to share with the entrepreneurs within our viewers, who've had this idea of either opening up a nonprofit organization or setting up, a startup of their own? Some key pearls of wisdom that you would want to share with us?
Well, I'd like to say one thing is that when you start a nonprofit, don't think about it as very different from a for-profit business. I think the key to success is to have a business sense driving the whole thing. So like I said, even before we began, we did a proposal and said, is the service really needed? That's a good place to start. So it's not just a dream in your heart. You need to do an evaluation. So have the systematic approach, and also every dollar which you raise, collect from a friend or another organization, you are responsible to make sure it's well spent. So you should have a business sense in utilizing the money well. So the same principles which you would apply in starting a good business also apply to running a nonprofit. Otherwise, you're going to run into issues. If you just start from the charity of the heart, that's a great place because that volition is there. But if you don't have, if you're not running it like a business, sooner or later you're going to run into issues. So,
sorry, go ahead.
That's my main point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to add to that, just like a for-profit organization, for non-profit also, you have to do your marketing. You have to present it to the donor community, what exactly are you doing, and you have to make a strong case why they should put in their dollars rather than putting somewhere else. It's just like marketing for any product or service. At the same time, the other side of it is the cost, because one side is what you earn, then what you spend, and the balance goes actually for profit. So on the cost side, also we are very, very tightly controlled. As Ram had pointed out, that all of us are purely voluntary. We don't have a single paid person here in the Vision 8 Inc. USA. We have some paid people in the center that is actually serving the people. But for our Vision 8 Inc. here, we don't have a single paid person. And our overheads are very minimum. Even the conference calls that we do, it's on a free conference call. So the only cost that we have is sometimes if you have a fundraiser, we may have to advertise that fundraiser. So we may have to spend a few dollars here and there, or in stationery for mailing, things like that, or whatever check cashing cost.
Right.
Other than that, our overheads are probably less than 5% of what we collect. Right. So the full dollar that anybody donates, 95 cents go towards the beneficiary.
Right. There's a very important event coming up for Vision 8 in the next coming weeks. Could you want to talk about that with our viewers, and how could we contribute or add our efforts to it?
I'd be happy to talk about that. We have a wonderful fundraiser on May 31st. It's in the National Heritage Museum in Lexington. If you have never been there, it's a great time to actually go there first. And I'm not just doing this as a sales pitch, Rishabh. This is, even if you take out the angle of nonprofit and Vision 8 and just you're looking for a fun, entertaining evening where you want to take your family members or children to an Indian cultural event, what we're doing is it's a unique presentation of the Ramayana, in a English narration as a choreography. So the whole Ramayana is being enacted by the best talent in Greater Boston. You can go to our website www.vision8.org, click on that, and you will see all the details of the events and the artists. And it's from 3 to 5 on May 31st in the National Heritage Museum. You can go to our website, buy the tickets from there. All the proceeds go to Vision 8. But like I said, you know, you're supporting a great cause, but you know, it's, you know, I can almost guarantee that you're going to enjoy the evening.